back to the Bankrupt Hippo YouTube channel. I'm Bryce, and this is episode 3 of Coffees and Kernels, where we talk all about movies, games, TV shows, and even in some cases, technology, coffee, and otherwise. So, welcome back to another episode. And today, while I'm recording this, it's Mother's Day. So, for all the mothers who might be watching this, for any of those who are watching this that love your mother or just have a mother in general, happy Mother's Day to all of them out there. So, another show here for you today. It's going to be a little bit more of an abbreviated version because my phone is dying and I don't have a charger near me that I can use it, or at least my phone's microphone, which is what I'm holding right here and right now, is used by the charging port. Therefore, I can't charge my phone and do this episode at the same time. And I don't have a ton of time on my hands to finish this episode tonight. So, like I said, just shorter episode today. But in this episode, we're going to talk about 3 different things. We're going to talk about watching Tenet with subtitles and how much different of an experience it provides. We're also going to talk about another game that I finished, which is Costume Quest 2. And then we're also going to talk about some new headphones I bought, which is the Razer Opus wireless headphones, and why I deeply enjoy them. So we'll start off right at the top here with Tenet with subtitles. So for those of you who don't know what Tenet is the latest movie in Christopher Nolan's saga. He directed this movie, and I believe he was a part of writing the movie as well. It certainly plays off of the fascination he has with time in a lot of movies that he's directed, at least that I've noticed and that I've researched. He seems to have this fascination with time, and Tenet kind of continues on that play. And to be honest, that's the best way I can describe it for those of you who haven't seen it yet. If you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend watching it if you've got HBO Max, or if you can go out and buy it. It's honestly worth like the $20 it would cost, even if you bought it in 4K. Like, yeah, I deeply enjoyed the movie myself. I went and saw the movie twice in theaters when it came out last Labor Day. It was like one of the first movies that got released in theaters, or at least one of the first. It was the first big title that got released in theaters during the COVID-19 pandemic. So the movie was in a very unique place in cinema history, and who better to do that with than a Christopher Nolan movie. So I'm trying to think of a good way to just give you a little minute rundown of what exactly the movie's about. Basically, we'll start off with who stars in it. John David Washington plays a character dubbed as the protagonist. You actually don't hear his actual name throughout the movie. He's just referred to the entire time as the protagonist. Then you've got Robert Pattinson, who gives an incredible performance in this one as well. He plays the character Neil. And then you've also got Kenneth Branagh, who plays, I'm trying to remember, Andre Sator, that's his name. I keep forgetting names and whatnot sometimes. There's just so much that goes in my mind, it just escapes me. But anyways, lots of great actors and lots of great performances, and there's a lot of things to love about this movie. Basically, it follows John David Washington as the protagonist and his journey through trying to prevent, I'm trying not to give away too much here, trying to prevent just the end of the world, essentially. And I'm just going to leave it at that so you guys can go ahead and watch it and enjoy it, because a Christopher Nolan movie only comes around once in a while, and it's just so, it's a full-on experience they want you to experience for yourself firsthand, and no matter what explanation I give it, it's not going to serve it a ton of justice. So if you guys want to watch it, it's on HBO Max. Otherwise, feel free to go out and buy it. One of the major things about the movie that a lot of people had trouble with, and that has been a critique of Christopher Nolan movies in the past, is the fact that his sound mixing is a little weird. What do I mean by that? Well, it's like he usually heavily, at some points, whenever the score is playing, it's almost like he turns up the volume up to 100, right? And it's a very overbearing. It really, the music really immerses you into what he's watching, but then it goes back to dialogue, and the dialogue's like really quiet, and then sometimes he'll do this little hybrid in between where the environment is louder than what the characters are saying, the characters' dialogue, and in some cases in the movie, you miss what exactly the characters are saying, and with how quickly paced the movie is, and with how complicated the concepts he introduces in the movie are, it gets a little confusing, and it can really get away from you really quickly. So it's like you go through the movie thinking like, there's definitely some things I missed. I'm having a good time. This is a great movie, but there are definitely some things I missed, which kept me from appreciating the movie even more. And that's just kind of what my thoughts were going out of the movie when I went and saw it both times in theaters, mind you. I couldn't quite make out everything that the characters were saying, and so a lot of the concepts, like the concept of inversion that he introduces, and you can hear that in the trailer, so that's not much of a spoiler. But like the concept of inversion, like I had a lot of trouble grasping that the two times I went and saw it in the theaters because I couldn't really understand what the characters were saying, and it didn't completely take me out of the movie. It made me feel like something was missing, but I still heavily enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed all the performances, and I loved it enough to go and see it twice in theaters, despite not being able to put it all together. So if that's any consolation as to how much I liked it, then let that help be your guide as well. But the point here is, I'm trying to answer the question: does watching subtitles help enhance your experience of the movie? And the answer is absolutely yes. So I got HBO Max about a week ago for the sole purpose of again watching Tenet with subtitles, and now ever since then I've watched it 2.5 times with subtitles. And the first time I watched it with subtitles, I understood the concept of inversion a lot more, or just even what was going on really in the movie and what was at stake. I understood it a lot more. I understood a lot more why the protagonist is at these places at these times, what the overall goal is, what the objective is, why are him and Neil working together, what's the overall purpose, where what did the protagonist start off as, what organization was he a part of? It's just those small simple questions, and even some of the bigger ones that I had about the concepts of inversion, reverse entropy, the thing that they refer to in the movie as the algorithm. A lot of those were answered when I was able to watch the movie in subtitles, and it already made my already positive experience with the movie bring it to a score from like a 7 out of 10 to like a 9 out of 10. Like it to me, it deeply enhanced my experience, and it made me appreciate the movie a lot more. Like I when you understand the deeper meanings and the concepts, it makes you feel smarter as an audience member, and it also makes you enjoy the ride a little bit more. It more feels like you're in the passenger seat of what Christopher Nolan is trying to do, rather than a bystander who's watching it go by thinking, okay, that looks like fun. But now you're thinking, this looks like fun. I want to understand it even more. And I think I'm going to even probably watch the movie another 2, 3 more times just to understand the other concept he introduces, like the reverse pincer movement. That's still one thing I can't quite put my finger on, but the idea is that with subtitles, a lot more of your questions are answered. And maybe that's another fair critique of Christopher Nolan's movies too, or at least in the case of just Tenet. I think that the concepts introduced in Tenet are very ambitious, and as a film audience member and film lover, I truly appreciate that, because it goes to places that most movies aren't willing to go. But at the same time, for the average moviegoer, it's like you could get easily lost in these movies and basically have this incentive to bow out and just kind of say, I don't get it, which I wouldn't blame you at all. I absolutely wouldn't blame you at all. And I think that any director, if they make the concept so complicated that you have to watch the movie multiple times to understand, that's a little bit on the director, or a lot of it on the director, I should say, because movies shouldn't be. Well, I can't sit here and say that movies should or shouldn't be. It's all about the artist's viewpoint of work. But if you're trying to capture the average audience member, having concepts that are too complicated might deter for some people, and that's fine. As long as the artist can portray their work in the manner and vision in which they want, then that's really what's important. And we all just get to benefit from it because Christopher Nolan makes great movies. And this was another one of those movies, at least I believed, was absolutely excellent. And I really loved it. And I continue to watch it. And then plus, not only that, you've got great performances in John David Washington and Robert Pattinson, which I love both of those guys as actors and performers, especially Robert Pattinson. I started following his career a little bit more closely, like within the last 6 months. I've gone back and watched his movies, including Good Time, which he did with the Safdie brothers, The Lighthouse, which he did with Robert Eggers and Willem Dafoe. That was another very... He got to show off his acting chops in those movies, and he gets to do so in Tenet, and I can't wait to see how he did in The Batman, which is going to be coming out in 2022. So, again, John David Washington and Robert Pattinson have made really good names for themselves, especially in their performances, and they continue to show that off in Tenet, and that provides some added benefit to it as well. The one thing I really want to mention, too, while we're still here on Tenet, is Kenneth Branagh. The fact that he played the professor against the dark arts teacher in The Chamber of Secrets, and now we get to see him play a Russian oligarch who serves as the criminal in this ultimately Tenet's a spy movie, is really interesting, and that kind of shows a little bit of his acting chops too. It's like, wow, he just blew me away. I thought it was just really cool to see that in that transformation. It's just so startling because I've seen both of those movies around the same time. So take that for what it's worth as well if you're looking something else to look forward to in the movie as well. Excuse me as I grab coffee real quick. So this wouldn't be coffee and kernels without a cup of coffee, guys. So for those of you who are listening on audio who can't see this nice warm cup of cocoa in my hand right now, I am again using my coffee is a hug and a mug, coffee mug again this week. So cheers to you guys who are listening on audio and watching on YouTube right now. Oh my god, that never gets old. It's still warm too. There's nothing worse than cold cocoa. That's the one thing that really grinds my gears, but I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way. I used to be able to drink cold cocoa, but not so much anymore. So guys, if you guys maybe didn't like Tenet without subtitles, or didn't like it the first time you're watching, feel like you missed some things that you wanted answered, or if you already like the movie and want to excel your understanding of it more, I highly encourage you to watch it with subtitles on. It didn't completely up the experience, but it upped the experience for me to the point where I enjoyed it a lot more, and it gave me some rewatch value. Like even right now as I'm recording this, I have it on in the background, just because to me it's so fascinating the special effects that they do. It's all a really good time, and plus it just won an Academy Award for its special effects, so you get to see a little bit of cool stuff there. Just I would love to know and watch the special features where they talk about how they filmed everything in reverse. That would blow me away. So that's going to be on my radar next. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know if you have seen Tenet, what did you think of it? Whatever you thought of it, comment below and let me know. Or if you've seen it with subtitles and without subtitles, what did you make between the two experiences? Let me know that as well. All right, so we're going to transition into the second thing I wanted to talk about today, which is going to be a game that I actually played on Xbox Game Pass. For those of you who don't know, I am an Xbox gamer. That's what I like to do besides movies and women's soccer, of course, but I decided to check out this game on Game Pass. There's a quest that came out for their rewards program, and for those of you who don't know, Xbox has a rewards program where if you play their games on Game Pass, you get rewards points that you can use to spend on gift cards, Xbox Game Pass memberships, gifts for other people, giveaways, whatever, and it's just a really nice program. So last week within that program, they had an objective to collect, I think, 50 pieces of candy in Costume Quest 2. So just to get the points, because I like to do all the quests, I decided to go ahead and play Costume Quest 2. I played for like an hour. I completed the quest, and I'm like, wow, that was actually a lot more fun than I ever thought it would be. So I ended up picking it up a week later, and I finished the game in its entirety last weekend. And I have to say, like, wow, that game was pretty spectacular. So what is Costume Quest 2? Costume Quest 2 is a game developed by Double Fine, and it's the studio headed up by Tim Schafer. They were actually recently acquired by Microsoft, so they get introduced into the Xbox family, and thereby all their games go on to Game Pass, if I'm not mistaken. And Costume Quest 2 is one of them. So what Costume Quest 2 is then is you follow the story of these two kids named Ren and Reynold. I know their names are very similar sounding. They both have that re sound, but basically what happens is they go trick-or-treating one night, and they're collecting candy. It's Halloween. They're going to meet up with their friends. Well, this dentist who is hell-bent on basically ending Halloween and keeping kids from rotting their teeth emerges, messes things up, goes back in time, and basically eliminates Halloween altogether and doesn't let kids have their candy and whatnot. And so the future of Halloween and its existence is resting on Ren and Reynold to go rewrite the past in order to bring back Halloween into the present, which sounds really confusing, but if you just play the game for 10 minutes, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. They go into it really, really quickly. But the point is, the overall game is just, I really enjoyed it. I would give it a score of like an 8 out of 10 for a few reasons. One, it's simple. It's really, really easy to play through. Two, it doesn't take up a ton of time. Three, it's really, really, really creative, and not only its combat, but also some of its gameplay mechanics as well. You get, along the way in playing this game, you get to play as a character. You play as Ren through Ren's viewpoint for the entire game, but you get to collect different costumes. These costumes have different abilities. For example, you might have a wizard costume, which boosts your attack points, or you might have a pharaoh costume, which boosts your defense points, and you can even bring your teammates back to life. And basically what you're trying to do is you're just trying to collect as much candy as you can. You're trying to save Halloween, and you just have a ton of fun in the process. It's a really whimsical, really simple time, and it doesn't take a whole ton of a time to complete the whole game. I think I maybe took 10 hours to complete the whole game from start to finish, and that's like me collecting everything possible. I went for every piece of candy, I went for every costume, I went for every quest. I bought as many power up cards as I possibly could, and it was just a really fun, really simple, whimsical time that everybody can enjoy. There is you do get combat in this game. It's violent, but it's not like hyper violent. Like there's no blood or gore, so it's E for everyone. Everyone can really play it and have a great time with it. Even family members can play together. Like if I had like young cousins or young brothers and young sisters, I would totally be comfortable playing this game with them. So there's fun in it for everybody. Um, I'm trying to think of other ways to sort of describe the game overall without it being too confusing. So we'll start off with the combat here. So the way that you kind of get into combat is along the way when you're trying to complete these quests, you're obviously traveling back to the past and you're meeting very important characters that are going to help you restore Halloween to your present timeline. And in doing so, there are obviously going to be obstacles in your way because the dentist who has trying to end Halloween is putting those obstacles in your way. Well, some of those obstacles are his minions, and the minions are there to basically stop you from trying to foil his plans to end Halloween. So you fight a ton of these minions between the beginning of the game and the ending of the game. And one critique I have about that is you can run into these minions just exploring the world at any time, which can be a little annoying because if you just want to go ahead and collect an extra 100 pieces of candy, you'll likely run into a minion like every 30 steps, which can be a little annoying and a little repetitive. And even at first, I was kind of thinking the combat feels a little repetitive too because you use one button in combat. You use well, I should say one button at a time. You either use the X button, you either use the Y button, or you use the A button. You use one of those three buttons depending on which character that you fight with. So it's simple in that, and it's more of a timing mechanic when you're doing combat, right? So if you press the X button at the right moment, it'll increase the amount of attack points that you get on the minion that you're fighting. And as you progress through the game, your attacks get stronger because you level up. The more minions you defeat, you level up, and the more candy you get. The more candy you get, you can spend the candy on power up cards. You can spend it on other quests, other costume pieces, or things to upgrade the costumes you already have. So there's a lot of rewards for fighting as many minions as possible, and they encourage that combat. So although it can be a little repetitive, it certainly is worth it, and it's really rewarding. What are some other very unique things about the game? It's really random, right? Like the game is really random in the fact that you never really know what you're going to run into at any given moment. Like I said, running into the minions is not really as predictable as it sounds. You'll run into them often, you'll get into fights often, but it's not very predictable. Like you could be sprinting through the world, and if you're not paying attention, bam, you'll run into a minion. And it's like, oh my god, like I found myself jumping at running into a random minion at several points in the game. So it keeps you on your toes, and I really like that about the game because it reminds you, hey, you have to be mindful of where you're moving and where you're going at all times. So I thought that was a really nice touch to it overall. Another thing that I found really interesting too is if you finish a fight with these minions, you obviously the minions can attack you and it can deplete your health. In order to refill your health, the game has an interesting mechanic where you have to go to a water fountain and you take a drink of water. Once you take the drink of water, you heal up your health, all of your squad mates' health, all the way up to 100 points. And you can also eat candy to do so too. So that's another incentive to go ahead and find and win as much candy as possible. So I thought that was a really cool healing mechanic system, and just the concept of eating candy to replenish your health. I thought that was kind of a cool play on Halloween overall. Take that for what it's worth, but I guess it all really depends on the person. So, what are some other things I'm missing about this game in general? The story isn't bad. The story it feels very innocent, very childish on the surface. Like you've seen it probably at some point before. You're trying to save Halloween. I'm sure you've seen movies where you're trying to save Christmas. I'm sure you've seen movies where you're trying to save some kind of holiday. I can't count how many movies I've seen where you're trying to save Christmas. Think of it this game as that, but with in video game form and with Halloween. And if you're into that kind of thing, it's a ton of fun. So I'd recommend this game to just about anybody overall. So if you're looking for a good time, guys, and you are looking for another Game Pass game to play and just revel in and enjoy it for even a few days, a weekend, or maybe you could even stretch out into a whole week. I know I stretched it out into a whole week or maybe even 2 weeks time, depending on what you got going on. But I would give the game a score of 8 out of a 10 just for how much fun I deeply enjoyed it and how whimsical I found the story. The story was whimsical to the point where I deeply enjoyed it. And I'm like, this game is different. It sticks to Double Fine's DNA. And if you're just looking for something different, fun, unique, that doesn't take up a ton of your time and is relatively simple, this game would be perfect for you. Or if you're looking for a game to just play with the younger brother, younger sister, younger niece, nephew, cousin, whoever, this game is absolutely perfect for that too. So give it a shot if you've got Game Pass. I highly recommend it. All right, so let's get into the last thing for this episode that I want to talk about today, which is a new pair of headphones I actually bought about a month ago. I've got the box with me today, the Razer Opus wireless headphones. So they have THX certified audio, which I would say is quite good. I don't have the actual headphones with me today. I actually might make a separate video detailing all of my thoughts on the headphones as well, because I probably won't be able to fit all of them into this podcast, or I'll probably forget some points that I want to just earlier. But anyways, so basically the story goes is I wanted to upgrade my headphones. I had a pair of Photive headphones, which is a brand that was sold on Amazon. They were just Bluetooth headphones. They weren't noise canceling or anything like that. They were just $40. I just wanted something that I could wear to work each and every day and enjoy with Bluetooth audio. They got a little uncomfortable and a little old, so I decided to upgrade, and I did a ton of research. I went on websites, IGN, ratings, you name it. I went and I did research. Well, there's a website I want to recommend to you guys. If you're looking for new tech, it's called Ratings, but it's spelled RTINGS.com. That's Ratings, I call it. And it's really good if you want to do research on products like even printers, vacuums, I've seen on there as well, headphones, TVs, audio, speakers, whatever technology you're into. They're a great website, and that's actually how I've decided to buy my TV I currently have, and also now the Razer Opus wireless headphones as well. So check them out. That's how I found out about the Razer Opus wireless headphones. They were listed as the best headphones for under $200. And I gotta say, I am deeply, deeply pleased with these headphones. Before I get into why, I just want to maybe detail the reasons why I upgraded from my Photive headphones to these, just so then if it fits any of the use cases you guys are looking for, you might find a little bit of parallel in what I'm saying too, and it might help you make a decision. So basically, my old headphones, they didn't have noise canceling, which wasn't a huge deal, or at least I didn't think it was a huge deal. I like to kind of hear my environment around me when I'm listening to music, just in case an emergency happens. Another thing was comfortability. My old headphones weren't all that comfortable. The padding on the ears started to wear off and scratch my ears, and that just obviously wasn't comfortable. And the headband felt so tight; it was like rock solid on my head. And I wear the headphones to work every day for 8 hours a day. And when you're wearing headphones for that long throughout the day, you want something that's comfortable. So I'm like, okay, now is probably the time to upgrade. Let's see what I can find. Well, I got the Razer Opus wireless headphones, and it helped me satisfy all three of those criteria. So they're really comfortable for wearing to work. They have very good noise canceling headphones. The only way that I hear my surroundings or my coworkers around me, like, idle chit chat that you hear around the office, is when they're calling my name, and they're doing so pretty loudly. Like, they have to raise their voices quite drastically in order for me to hear them, which means the headphones is doing its job, because I don't like to hear all the idle chit chat at work. It's distracting, it bugs me, and I like to stay in the zone while I'm working. So the noise canceling, I'd say, is of very good quality. And also, it really, with how good the noise canceling is, it really helps immerse me in what I'm doing. And it also makes me notice the sound quality in the headphones too. There are some songs that I've listened to on these headphones where there are maybe little guitar riffs, there's maybe little beats that I've missed previously in the songs that I now hear with the Razer Opus wireless headphones I didn't hear previously. So that was kind of a cool mix with it as well. The Bluetooth functionality works just as expected. I don't know how else to say it. It connects to my phone pretty instantly. I just go to my Bluetooth settings, hit connect, and it connects just fine. Another thing that I really enjoy about the headphones, it's got this really cool setting, and you can actually turn this on or off too, where if you take off your headphones, it automatically pauses your music for you. So, like, for example, if my coworker calls me really quick and I gotta take off my headphones, it pauses the music for me. I don't have to go to my phone, press pause, then take off my headphones. So it just saves me an extra step that I really appreciate. And the one interesting thing I found too is if I even like have the headphones on and I go like this and I remove the earmuff, just one of them, and it has to be the left one. It also pauses the music too. If I do it with the right ear, it doesn't do it. It doesn't do it at all, which I found really interesting. So if you just pop off one of your earmuffs, which is the left one, it'll pause the music for you as well. I thought that was a really nice touch, and it's really saved me a ton of time and a ton of podcast enjoyment as well, because I've probably missed hours in podcasting time at while working because I would take the headphones off and then the podcast would keep running for as long as I was answering my coworker's question. And now I don't have to worry about that anymore. So that's another big plus with these headphones. Another thing that's really cool is you can customize your listening experience too, because it comes with an app. It allows you, this Razer Opus app allows you to install the latest firmware updates, which is pretty standard. Xbox does it too with their controllers. I've done it with this one quite a few times as well. It allows you to update the sound settings so that your bass, your treble, whatever. And it's also got some predetermined values as well. So if you want to do THX audio, if you want extra bass, if you want to optimize it for music, voice, chat, etc., and so forth, you can do it all with these headphones, and it handles it with grace, and it handles it quite nicely no matter what setting it's on. So and I've had these headphones for a month. I wanted to wait a while before talking about them in a video because I want to make sure I was getting the most accurate review and understanding of it as possible. So take that for what it's worth. Another thing that I like about these headphones is they are much more comfortable, at least in the headband, than my old headphones. The headband is nice and soft. It's got some foam in there, which is a must for all of these headphones, right? Especially if you're paying $100+ for them. I paid $130 for these on Amazon, and it was absolutely positively well worth it, especially if you wear them to the office all day like I do. The headband is comfortable in the fact that I can wear the headphones. I've worn them for, on average, I wear them for about 4 to 5 hours before I have to adjust them and it gets uncomfortable, but still, I think 4 to 5 hours is spectacular at a time without getting uncomfortable and having to take them off. So take that for what it's worth as well. What are some other good uses for the headphones? I actually think in ratings, I was reading this from ratings, they actually recommended the headphones for commuting purposes. Like for example, if you're on a train and you gotta pass the time and listen to music or whatever's on your headphones, these headphones are perfect for that. And I would actually agree with that statement a lot because of the ability for it to cancel out all the white noise. It can cancel out the train tracks, it can cancel out jet noises if you're on an airplane, etc., and so forth. Excuse me. And it's actually perfect for that. And usually your commutes aren't going to be more than a few hours at a time, which again goes into the comfort thing. Because, like I said, 4 to 5 hours is usually long enough for the headphones to get uncomfortable for me. But if you're on a commute, you'll never be uncomfortable because your commute is likely not going to be that long. So, having said that, it's great for office use too. Like I said, most of the time I can't hear what my coworkers are saying unless they're shouting, which very rare if ever. There's once in a while where I'll hear chatter and it'll scare the hell out of me and I'll jump, but then I just take off the headphones and I realize everything's okay. So it's fine. It's fine. Uh, so basically, if you're looking for new headphones and you're looking to upgrade with, and for headphones that aren't ridiculously expensive, I would definitely recommend the Razer Opus wireless headphones. They come in black or midnight blue. I was this close to buying midnight blue, but I just like black better because it goes with a lot of other colors. Um, so if I had to give them a score, I would say 8 out of 10 would be my recommendation, and I think they're just a great value headphone. The next model I considered buying was the Sony, I think WHX 1040, or I can't remember the exact model. It was really long, but those were like double the price, if not 2.5 times the price of the Razer Opus wireless headphones. And from the reviews I saw, the quality wasn't much different between the headphones. So take that for what it's worth. If you're looking to pick between the two and you're looking for just a cheaper option, the Razer Opus wireless headphones, I would say, are pretty solid. I can't say for sure if they're better than the Sony model that I just mentioned because I've never used the Sony model that I just mentioned. So just keep that in mind when deciding your purchase. If you have the opportunity to try both and make your decision. But that's just my 2 cents on it. So that's my thoughts on the Razer Opus wireless headphones, ladies and gentlemen. One thing really quick, I forgot to mention. I used the headphones to also, I took the 3.5 millimeter cable that it comes with, and I plugged it into my Xbox controller, actually, in this. little bottom part right here, and I connected it to my Xbox controller, and I actually listened to the game's audio through it just to see how it would go. And I've never been more immersed in a game in my life. You could use the noise canceling with it, and you can get the full game audio experience, which, like I said earlier with the sound quality, I heard things in the games that I haven't heard previously before without using the headphones. So that to me speaks volumes of the sound quality. It helped immerse my experience into the game as well. So that's another tidbit I wanted to mention. I didn't try it with the wireless gaming, and I don't believe they're capable of wireless gaming if I'm not mistaken. So if you're looking for a wireless gaming option, I wouldn't choose the Razer Opus wireless headphones at all. But if you're looking for everyday use, they're an excellent choice. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, do you have these headphones? If so, what do you think of them? Comment below and let me know whatever you think whatever your thoughts are. Sorry, I can't talk today. So, ladies and gentlemen, 3 up, 3 down. That'll do it for me for another episode of Coffee and Kernels. Really quick before I let you guys go today, I made a video reviewing the game We Happy Few, which is another Xbox Game Pass game that was released in 2018. I revisited it. I wrote a whole review and video on it. I'll link that down in the description below so you guys can take a look if you're curious and are looking for another Game Pass game and just wanted to know my thoughts on it. It's there for your viewing pleasure. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Coffee and Kernels. I've been Bryce from the Bankrupt Hippo YouTube channel. And until the next video, thanks so much for watching and have a great day.